All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to What's Your Story? So very excited for another guest on the show, my boy Kenny, that we met, I think, back 2015, 2016 at Fitness Together. He worked for a little while when I was managing the studio for us. And kind of one of those people, when I first met him, you can tell had a big passion for fitness, for coaching, really strength conditioning. But he ended up working for us, and working a little more with the general pop, but kind of putting his style into a lot of the training. And then after a while decided to kind of a mix of a few things, go work for another place, go do his own training. And we'll dive deep into that. But he's someone that has always been super positive, and we've holded a nice relationship, I think, over the last 4 years. And someone that, I appreciate because I can tell he's in it for the right reasons and trying to help as many people as he can. So I'm excited to tell his journey, kind of how he started and what got him to the point he is today, from building a successful business and also a social media following. And I think it'd be cool for everyone that's trying to get into the field, or someone that's looking for an awesome coach, just to see how he got there. So Kenny, man, I want to invite you to the show, and thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for inviting me. Honestly, it's kind of a pleasure to be here, and just be able to talk about my own story and just like how I got from point A to point B, and doing it in the climate of Boston and during a time where we weren't even having a fitness revolution like we are now, not just in Boston, but also the world. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here and just talk about that.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. And I think it's cool because like everyone has their own journey and it starts somewhere. For you, where did it start? Like, did it growing up, were you like an athletic kid and it's sports related, or did you find that later on? How did it work for you when it all started?
So everyone actually always thinks I was like an athlete and everything. I was playing every sport. I actually was obese for up until my sophomore year of high school. I was like 180. I was like 5'2", and one day it really, like, I wanted to lose weight, but you feel kind of insecure going into the gym. I'm friends with a lot of athletes, and you go to the gym, they see you can't really bench or lift anything, and like they make those snarky remarks. So you're like, you don't really want to go into the gym. But one day I remember just my sophomore year, I was just over it. I was just like, I want to start working out. I want to do this. I want to get serious about it. Luckily enough, it was the fall. So like none of my friends were in the gym at the time because they were in their football seasons. Um, so I was working out, and then by the time they came back, like I wasn't with them, but they knew I've been going to the gym and they saw the results, and I just spent all my time there. And it after a while, it shifted my mindset. It wasn't about just losing weight anymore. It was just mentally I felt good. I was doing my homework more. I just always felt in a good, like, great place. Like one of my who the person who oversaw the gym, you're not allowed to let kids in there or leave them there, but he would let me stay in there because he knew I was just about working out and just about getting better, and it was just a great place for me and environment for me to be in. So yeah, I ended up losing the weight my sophomore year. Then my junior year, that's when I got serious about weightlifting. And I'm I love sports. I'm a competitive person naturally, especially with myself. I wanted to outlift all my friends, especially when you hear all their snarky remarks. So that was the next goal, just becoming stronger. And then I was able to achieve the level of strength that I was at the time. And just ever since then, it was just a love, and it was just all about challenging myself.
So for you, did you feel like having that like negative feedback, people doubting you at the beginning, was that something that it sounds like really like helped you push through to almost prove people wrong? That's how it was for you?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a good and a bad, but like that's just like that's something that feeds me. I grew up loving Kobe, so like I remember every morning when I woke up, I listened to a Kobe speech, and "How Bad Do You Want It" video. It was on. This is me a throwback. This was on my PSP. I would use that as my iPod and just listen to that,
It's
especially when I
awesome.
was tired, just to get me up. But yeah, that's exactly what motivated me. And I remember two of my friends who they called me up. This was in college. This is my senior year, and they sat there and told me. I still remember where it was. It was in front of Wagan Hall, next to our dining hall, and they were like, I don't think you're going to make it as a trainer. I don't think athletes are going to want to work with you because of like your frame and everything. And I was just like my frame's not big or anything. But when people see me in the gym, they see me lift, they're just like, whoa, this looks unnatural. But I just looked at them and I said, okay, especially me knowing the field and knowing of plenty strength and conditioning coaches who are just like skinny guys. They're like small guys, but they're very strong and they're very knowledgeable people. They're not like the stereotypical, like huge, big, like, I don't know, Lamar Jackson kind of figure, Zion Williamson type of figure. But that day, I was like, okay, so I went back to my room, didn't bother me. I searched up Equinox and I searched up all the gyms in Boston. This was in March, within a 15-mile radius from my house. Next day, I left Bridgewater State. I went to college at Bridgewater State. I took the commuter rail. I grabbed all their brochures and pamphlets. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about working out here, whatever. I just wanted their pamphlets. And I went back to my room. I laid them all the pamphlets out and I was just like, all right, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to price. But I also just wanted to see how they advertise to people, but also the aesthetic that they were using and just the lettering that we're using that got across to people. And it was just like, why does this connect to other people? Why is this the message that they use? Why does this connect to other people? So I just laid it all out, and that's what I used to help formulate not only my pricing and brochures, but also formulate my own website. So yeah, it was just literally to just prove them wrong. And I went around to different businesses such as Puma, New Balance, seeing what they wanted in like a sponsored athlete type of figure. Like what would get you to notice me? Because what can I lose? Like, I'm 22. It's just like, I'm trying to build a brand here. It's like, what can I lose? What, you're going to tell me, no, I can't come in here? But right. I just went and asked a bunch of questions, tried to figure it out. And once I did, that's how my social media page came about. So like, I thought about making a separate one and I tried and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So instead I just used my own, just use the following I already had and just build that up and create the aesthetic that would get brands and magazine and publishers to look at me, but also something that's unique to me, and something that I would love. So like I had trial and error basis videos that I tried to emulate other people, but I realized it wasn't me. And I just created what I would love and what is natural to me to get to where I am today.
So like, it's interesting too, because your first thought right away wasn't necessarily to work for a company and try to build a career out with them. Was it always, I want to have my own thing? Because that's what it kind of seems like for you.
Yeah, even when you met me,
yeah,
he'd be like, yo, can you work with this client? I'm like, I kind of got to do something. And sure. I think that's like a big, and I'm a person, I never like to let anybody down, but I was so big on building my brand. And my thing is, I don't like sales. I say I sell with passion because I find that a bit more genuine. And
100%. I agree.
I don't like selling packages to sell packages and trapping people. I couldn't do that. And I would, if I found myself in that, I would not love the job. Like I personally couldn't do it. So I knew that I couldn't work at an Equinox or a Boston Sport Club or anything, which is why I found fitness together. It was much smaller, like right. A more boutique place. So I was just like, I can work with this. But as I worked there for a bit, I was just like, I realized I really can't put my all into this. And I really love just like the freedom and flexibility that I had. Granted, fitness together gave me freedom and flexibility more than I should have gotten. But I just really loved working for my own brand and making it work. Well, and I just want to see the risk.
No, it's understandable, man. And I mean, I can relate because I want to say I've coached my whole life the same way. And it's interesting too, because I worked at Equinox and then I worked at, Fitness Together, and I made good money at Fitness Together because of the situation I was in. But like you said, I got burnt out. It wasn't what I wanted. There was, even with Equinox, there's a point where you feel like you're putting in a lot of work for half the reward that you really should be getting, because you know they are supplying maybe clientele to an extent, but it's tough, because especially when you have that mindset right away that you're like, this is your baby and you want to build your own thing, you're restricted to like a lot of different levels. And at least like when you have complete control of your own thing, even if it takes more time, it's yours. So you got to a point where you started to build your own business, you started putting out on social media. I feel like a lot of people now more than ever are, you know, I don't know if you watch Gary Vee, stuff like that at all. But like you see, everyone wants to be the next brand. They want the big social media. And something I think you've done well is the consistency of the stuff that you put out and the patience that you've had. How do you stay patient and consistent with what you're doing? Because I think it's very easy for a lot of people to, you know, they do it for a few weeks and a few months and then they stop. Like what's it been for you that's kept you so consistent?
Well, to me, consistency will get you to any goal. That's my thing. That's something I promote to my clients, and that's something that I believe in personally. You have to consistently work at something. Like no one starts off great. Kobe was 18. He missed those 2 free throws. He didn't have great years up until like his 3rd or 4th year, where he was able to really take advantage of the opportunity when whoever was ahead of him got injured and really grow his career. So to me, it was just like my time will come. But I'm also selfish in the way of prioritizing my mental health. And if I got so much attention all at once or tried to be the next biggest thing, like I could never have time for myself. And I think it's really important to have time for yourself and just take advantage of, sometimes it's okay to not be busy. Like it's okay to just relax and just chill, not have to answer your phone. But like, and when you do have that time, when like now you're getting these messages from like Instagram or just like people emailing you, you're like, oh shit, this is a lot. Like this is too much. So for me, I realized early on, like I've always said I don't want to be like the biggest thing. Obviously, yes, I want to grow my brand to where it's a point where it's enormous, but I'm okay with just waiting for that and taking advantage of the free time that I have now until I get to that point. So like I think it just creates a healthier mindset, especially just moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I think it's so hard for people to be patient in a time that everyone's getting famous on TikTok and doing all these crazy things, right? So I think, you know, I preach the same thing: patience, discipline, accountability. Like I love Jocko Willink. I don't know if you know Jocko at all, and like, you know, different, you know, but a guy, ex-Navy SEAL, that just preaches like, you know, discipline equals freedom. And the more disciplined you are, the more patient you are, the more freedom you'll have in the long term.
Exactly.
And you brought him up a few times, man. Like, you know, obviously he was inspirational to you, as Kobe Bryant. Like, what age did you start kind of looking to him as like almost a role model? Because that's what is that basically what it was for you? Is he was your like role model?
Yeah, he was a role model for me. Like even now, like even after I built up my business, I have a quote by him on my website. It's just I don't know. Every time I heard him speak, the way he articulated himself was amazing. But he acknowledged he wasn't a perfect person, which I think we should all do. Like we're not perfect. We have flaws, but you can tell how serious he was about working hard. Like yes, he had God-given talent, but he also mentions like I have to work on this. Like I remember after he faced the Heat, and they lost. He was there at their court just shooting, just shot over 1,000 shots and just stayed in the away crowd just because he missed the shot that he makes all the time. So, and I think that's like, that goes far for someone that you hold in such high regard. To see them still working, you're like, you're still working? Like, I didn't think people like you still work. Like you've done it. You've won 4 or 5 championships. You've done it. What else do you need to still work for? It's like you'll make it on another day. So just to be able to see that and see that resiliency and just see the effort that somebody puts in, like it really hit me. And this was the time of like where YouTube was starting to get big. There wasn't Instagram, so you couldn't see everybody's workout videos. So like when I saw like a Kobe like workout video or shooting video, I was like, I'm on this. I was like, I gotta watch this. I was like, if he's doing this, I gotta go be doing this. So like for me, it was just a mindset, and then eventually he coined the mindset as like Mamba mentality, and to me that's something that sticks with me. It's just that's like I'm never negative in any situation. It's always, you got to look at the positive. You can always find a positive and even in the negatives and just grow from it. And how can I improve from this situation? So like something shitty could have happened. But it's just like, all right, let's look at it and let's improve from it and let's make sure this doesn't happen again. So yeah, he was like, I'm a person that says I don't have like many role models. And I always say like people shouldn't look at celebrities from role models, but like for me, he was, yeah, no, he was a role model for me. He was
Well,
completely.
everyone can take so much from him, like the work ethic, the discipline, like it's just on another level. What, and you brought it up too, but I can't think of the guy. He played for Duke, ended up getting hurt in the motorcycle accident. He told a story about Kobe. I don't know if you remember this. Something Williams, maybe. Can't think of his
Jay
name.
Williams.
Jay Williams, but you've heard his story about Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like how crazy it, like Kobe, he's warming up before the game. Kobe's in there. He does like an hour workout before the game and then leaves after the game, talks to Kobe. He's like, dude, like, why did you practice for so long? He's like, cause he walked in and he had to prove a point. Like, you're not going to be outworked. Like,
Exactly.
like how awesome is that? He's like, I worked out probably like 3 hours just to prove a point.
And that's something that hits me at certain times. Like, and people always like to comment on my work ethic and like where it comes from, but like, that's where it comes from. And it's just like, it's funny. I watched the Last Dance documentary and Jordan said something like, he was just like, I make competitions for myself to motivate myself. Like he's like, I'll make up a story just to motivate myself. And my friends are like, that's sick. And I just sat there like, oh, I do that sometimes too. I was like, oh, it's kind of unhealthy. Like I could be in a gym and be working out and going hard and see somebody. If I see them going hard and I see them looking at me, I'm just like, oh, he's trying to outwork me. He's trying to prove a point. And I remember this exact situation happening when I was in New York at a BSC or a New York Sports Club. And this guy was working. He was looking at me. I was like, it was a competition. 100%. It was 100% a competition.
Right.
And I just took it up a notch. He took it up a notch. We ended up doing the same ab circuit. Like it was just like, it was something, but we both looked at each other with a sign of respect. But like, I looked at him like, yeah, like I like added a bit more. And that day, I think it was an upper body day for me. I just started exploding. After a while. And
Just
I was like,
hyped.
all right, keep up. I was like, can you keep up with me? And it was something that just motivated me in the moment. So I stayed at the gym for an extra hour just going at it with that guy. But then when it was over, we both just looked at each other, gave each other a nod, and just walked away. But it was something just in my head I created, and I was just like, oh, this guy's trying to outwork me. And he 100% could have just been like, just working out, and then eventually just saw that I kept staring at him. But
Right.
It was just something that just motivated me in the moment. And I was just like, wow, I was like, I guess Jordan's not sick. I was like, I guess we're just sick.
Oh, dude, I couldn't agree more. It's funny because with Jordan, like with Jordan's mentality, he could be like, yo, that dude like looked at me and he's like, and then he like creates a whole narrative in his head about like, now I'm going to do A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I think I hate when people say you're obsessed with things because like obsession is a bad thing. To be great at anything, you have to be obsessed. You have to be. You can't be like, there's only a fine line. Like the elites at anything, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the Jordans, the Brady's, the whatever, the guys that are elite are obsessed. So at some point, if you want to be that, you have to be willing to put in the work. If you want a more balanced lifestyle, it's just, you're not going to be that level. And I think that's what people have to understand. It depends what you want. And, what the cool question. So I think this is interesting because you talked about the Mamba mentality. You talked about, the importance of mindset, your positivity. What do you do on a day-to-day basis to help create that positive mindset or that mindset to stay motivated? Are you into reading audiobooks? Are you just like meditation or working out? What is your thing?
This is like really weird, but like I found out some other people do this, but sometimes I just like talk out different scenarios or things in my head of like, what should I be doing to get to that next step? So like, and it's a way that I hold myself accountable. If I pride myself on holding others accountable, especially my athletes, I feel like there's nothing wrong with me just talking to myself, seeing what I've done, and just holding myself to that same standard that I hold everybody to. So like, if I had a terrible week, in terms of just like working, or if I didn't hit any goals, I'm hard on myself. I'm just like, all right, this is what we got to do here, here, and here. I was like, I'll probably cut less gym time and make sure we get on here. Like, I'm a parent for myself, but I think it's because of the way I grew up. Like, I didn't really have, my mom was always working. I only grew up with me, my mom, my sister. So like, I didn't really have anybody disciplining me or like leading me down a path of this is success. I had to figure it out for myself, which is how I found Kobe, and like how I found the How Bad Do You Want It video. Like, that's how I molded like success, and being motivated and just staying positive. That's how I molded that mindset. So for me, I've always just had to just talk to myself and just hold myself accountable. But also, I like to just, sometimes I just like to go on, I find social media, you get what you want from it. So like, everyone has their gripes with social media, but there are some positives from social media. And I like to go on it and see what other people are doing, not emulate, but just see how they're doing, see what they're saying and how they're moving forward, but also seeing their growth. Like, I saw one of my buddies, he grew, he got a deal from Puma, and
good for him.
And it's crazy because I don't even know the guy. I just met him through social media, but I was just like so happy for him and his growth. And I think not only just holding yourself accountable, but also just like truly meaning that. And I'm trying to find the words to articulate, truly meaning that, and not trying, like, being your own person and being okay with yourself, and not trying, I basically want to say, don't look at other people's success and question why you don't have that. And because I feel like that forms like a bitterness, and that forms an anger, and that just starts to tarnish your work. I feel like you should really just like be happy for others, but also surround yourself around people who are doing well, because that mindset just rubs off on you. So like, instead of getting upset, you end up getting motivated. You're like, shit, like, you did that. Like, I can't wait till it's my time, you know? It's like, I can't wait till it's my turn, till I get that opportunity, or a company reaches out to me. So it's like, all right, let's just keep working and let's stay consistent, because if you can do it, I sure can do it too. So
Well,
I guess that's how I stay motivated.
yeah, no, it makes sense. And, you know, you're just like, the thing is you just take accountability for like everything, right? I feel like that's just like, you don't put, like, if you don't get something, it's not someone else's fault. You don't put blame on other people. And I think, you know, it's very easy to be like, well, this didn't happen because, well, this person, or I didn't get this job because of the person. And it's like, I feel like if more people just took
Rocky quote.
right, man, it's like, just take accountability for your life. And like, if you just truly are like, everything's my fault, even if it's like almost impossible for it to be your fault, you'd be better off, because then it's like, at that point, you like, okay, what can I control? What can I do? You know, what can I not, like, why is this person holding me back? Like, you know, it's important, man. And I love the way that, you know, you talk about a couple things when it comes to the mindset, but it's interesting. It's interesting because you're right with social. There's so many people, like, you choose who you follow.
Exactly.
So if, like, why are we following people just to hate on them? And why are we following a bunch of negative stuff? Like, if you want, like, just follow the positive stuff, surrounding the people that you want to be like, you know, and all the best. And you look at the best of the best, no one's upset that other people are being successful. They use that to inspire them. So I think that's what it's got to be. So with like everything going on right now, you've obviously, like, we've been remote and coaching, like stuff like that. What strategies or what things have you done to continue to like improve and, like, you know, not letting this time kind of put you down, and continue to maybe grow your business or help people in other ways?
Like, luckily enough, we're on Zoom. Luckily enough, I was able to capitalize on Zoom early. So like, luckily, because of that, I've been able to work with clients and train with clients. But also, once I capitalized on Zoom, I shared it with other trainers, because these are other trainers that inspired me through their work. And right now, this is a time where like not many people are working, not especially in the fitness industry. It's like, it's kind of my way of being like, it's time to start your own brand. It's time to like, let's do this, because what else can you do? So yeah, right now it's just talking to other people, talking with other trainers, but also working on some collaborations, just as a form of network, but something different to offer the people that follow me. But yeah, it's really just networking. That's really a lot of the things I've been doing, and just wanting to help others grow during this time, and like really seize the moment and find positivity in this moment, because it's really easy to be negative and put yourself down during this time. Like, I know the whole first month or two of COVID, like I was completely depressed, but that's because of the opportunities I had presented to myself, in terms of like, I was supposed to be going to LA, and work with some influencers and trainers, which was going to be cool. Like, the NBA draft was coming up, and I was going to be working with my first professional. Like,
That's awesome.
it was it was all going the way it was supposed to be going, and like how I had it envisioned in my head. And then COVID happened. I was just like, oh God. And it's just like, again, like I say, I'm a positive person. I'm like, all right, let's endure and go through. But I realized like I couldn't do that, because it was like, when you own your own business, you're kind of like a control freak to an extent, and you can't control anything right now. It's
Right.
kind of, you just have to wait. And I was like, oh shit, this is terrible. So I had to let myself fall into that depression for a bit. Luckily enough, I had a great support system. And just seeing other trainers still working and enduring was really motivating, and I made a post about it. But once eventually I was able to get out of that funk and create strategies for myself to stay like mentally sane and healthy during this time, then I was able to really just progress my business forward with like different things like Zoom, and mostly just networking. And yeah, networking is still bringing my name out there.
Yeah. What are some of your own personal goals right now? Like when it comes to like training, working out, or maybe even before this hit, where, it's interesting because you look at a lot of people in social, and it's a lot of like it's interesting. It's like bodybuilding stuff. It's bigger lifts. It's like strength conditioning stuff. And a lot of your stuff, very athletic based, a lot of explosiveness. You're doing a ton of different stuff than maybe the norm, I guess, of like a lot of social media people when they're posting content. What are some of your goals in general? Is it just, trying to get better each day, or are you trying to work towards something, or where are you at with that?
So for me, it's one of my quotes on my website is trying to build a better you. So that's where I was with my goals, and it was constantly just challenging myself. So like, one thing I was doing was I was on the TRX, just balancing myself and doing different core activities, and it made me get in the mindset of a gymnast, where like I've never worked with a gymnast, but I was putting myself in their position where I was like, shit, this is hard. I gotta hold myself up. My core is tight. Like, I can barely move. I want to drop. And eventually I was able to come to not master it, but I was just like, I was there where I can do things, and I was like, yo, this is pretty sick. Like, this is pretty cool. So like, my goal was just to constantly challenge myself and place myself in different roles of different athletes, and just see what that feels like, and just grow from there. But it also just educate me as well, and keep learning, because I feel like you're never a master in this business. Like, you're constantly learning. Like, yeah, I still remember learning from you. You taught me push pull. Like, you're always learning in this field. It's not just one style of fitness. So yeah, it was always just challenging myself. Like, last week I was with somebody, he's a trainer, and he was showing me his style. It was just all just like really functional movements, like functional calisthenic movements. And I found it all just super fun. Like, it was something different for me. And I thought it was crazy and cool. And it was something I could bring back to my clients, but also into my own workouts. It was just a new way to challenge myself in a way I've never been challenged. So for me, it's always about tackling the next challenge, and just finding I don't want to say the next goal, because like, my goal is to be challenged, but yeah, just growing from that, and just growing my body to a point where like, I come across anything. I like to tell my clients, when you come across anything, like, you won't be challenged. You just be like, all right, this is not so bad. Like, I got this.
Right. Do you know David Goggins?
Yeah, one of my clients introduced me to him. The guy's a
Dude,
nut. That's crazy.
his book, They Can't Hurt Me. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
you listen to audiobooks or read it all, but dude, like, I've been obsessed with him. He's Navy SEAL. Same Jocko Willink that I brought up earlier was ex-Navy SEAL. He's just like the ultimate leader. But David Goggins, people thinks he's nuts, right? He is. But I love that dude so much, because I just love his, like, I feel like right now it's interesting, right? This, obviously you can be controversial at times, but I feel like society as a whole even before all this, not saying this with anything, but just say in general, is can be very soft to an extent when it comes to being uncomfortable, pushing themselves
Yeah.
to, physically to be stronger and, mentally and things like that. So I love fitness because it, I think through physical discomfort, it's why I always talk about my new thing is chase discomfort. Through physical discomfort, mental growth comes. So I think when you push physically and you can like sweat and be tired and fatigued and want to quit and overcome that, I think there's so much value because it correlates to outside of life, like your
Yeah.
work, like everything improves. So like him just always trying to push to an extreme level shows what you can do if you physically can do it. Cause he was a 300-pound dude. And then
Yeah.
now he's running he ran a 200-mile marathon
But a broken toe. Yeah.
dude, his shins are broken,
Nuts.
like did all this crazy stuff. And it's like, is that good? No, but it shows like mentally we're capable of way more than we think. And
Exactly.
to your point of pushing yourself, like right now, I was the fitness bodybuilding strength guy. Now I'm getting into like the Spartan race stuff and the obstacle races. And I signed up for like a 9 mile to 50 obstacle course race in a month. And it's like doing these things that are, next year, like a half marathon with 30 obstacles, like doing these things that are just so outside of my comfort zone, but having to train and get better and suck at running and
Yeah.
huffing and puffing on your first mile to the point where you can do this. I think, it's humbling, but at the same time, it's like, I think we all need something like that in our life. And
Yeah.
it could be just going to the gym twice a week, but we have to push ourselves to be
Yeah.
better in that way.
And one of my clients, he's a football player. He actually told me that he was like, I really enjoy working with you because he was like, I thought I was paying you to push me physically, and he was like, I realized you're changing my mindset. He was like, you're not just pushing me physically, you're pushing me mentally, and you're changing the way I think and how I'm wired. And he was like, I think that's amazing because he's like, I've never had that before, nor did anyone ever make me think about the mental side of fitness, or just not just fitness, but life, because they correlate. And he was like, I really love that about working with you because he's like, mentally, he's like, I see things differently. He's like, I can now when I watch other athletes and I see the way they're moving, he's like, I can tell when they're giving up, and he's just like trying to figure out a way to push them and motivate them. He's like that's something that he's like I never thought was important, but he's like it's really important. He's like, you always keep me going even when I don't think I can do it. He's like, you always keep me going and finding a way to do that. And I was just like, for me, that's what the job is about. It's like, physically we'll get there, that's fine, but for me it's mentally. It's like, do you believe that you can do it? And once you get to that belief, like just the other day, my client, she was doing some step ups, and she's trying to lose weight, and she's on the brink of tears. She does not want to do this. And I tell her, I believe I don't make my clients do anything I don't think they could do. But if I think you could do it, and I say it in a very nonchalant voice, because it's like, I don't really need to convince you. It's like, or convince myself. It's like, I believe in you. Like, that's it. And sometimes people need to hear those words, and she's doing it. If she's still freaking out as she's doing it, she's like, I'm doing it because you said you believed in me. And she's going, and like, I have two fingers up as she's holding my two fingers, and she's still going, and then eventually she removes herself. And I'm like, how bad was it? She was like, okay, it wasn't that bad, but still, it was scary, but you said you believed in me. And I have that with a few clients when it came to like jump squats or anything. And
Yeah.
now they're like, oh yeah, this is super fun. This is great. They're like, I don't know why I was freaking out, but sometimes it's like, you have to change that. You have to you have to change the way you see yourself to put yourself in uncomfortable positions and just really not just care anymore. You're like, I got this.
Dude, I've become obsessed. Like I said, I hate endurance stuff, but
Mhm.
I've become obsessed of like, no matter if you can't run a mile, it's running a mile. If you can't run 5, like 3, 5, 10 miles, whatever your mileage is. And I have injuries, so I'm fighting injuries, but it's one of those things of like, when you just can't, like, you're like, say your client even doing step ups, your heart rate's elevated, you're sweating, your nerve, like you want to give up. There's so much value in that one moment of like, you can either quit or you can
Mhm.
finish. And like, I'm like obsessed with chasing that type of discomfort. And I think like
Yeah.
running and endurance stuff, like being out somewhere running and like, fuck, you want to quit, my head's a
Mhm.
mess. And then you just push through. I love
Yeah.
that. And to
I
your point, go ahead.
I was gonna say I hate running,
Yeah.
but when I do go running and I'm going for miles, when I do start getting tired, this is something that I always do, and like this is like where the obsessed side comes out. Like you see like I don't want to lose. And I told some of my friends this, and I start in my head when I want to quit, I start thinking about some of my friends that are athletes that are working, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just throw out some names. I'm like, yo, Alan's not quitting right now. He's working, and he could completely be doing like homework right now, or like
Right.
just studying. But for me to know that, and he's someone I know that's a hard worker, I'm a push and keep running. And I've definitely just mentioned to him once. I was like, that's what I do to keep myself motivated. I just start naming random names. And again, they could literally just be sitting down in their bed chilling, but like that motivates me to create that story that they're working right
Yeah.
now, so I can't stop working or give up. So I got to keep going and endure. And then like I'm on the floor after, but
Yeah, dude, I'm in the
the
same
moment
way.
keeps me going.
I'm at the park, right? And I do this all the time. Or so again, I hate running, but I'm doing it because I hate it. And I have to force myself to get better. And I'll be at the park and I look at it and people are like, oh, it's hot out today. And it's like 94. And I'm like, fuck, I got to run now. Like, because it's going
Yeah.
to suck so bad that I have to do it. Or like, I'll be at the park in the middle of a run and whatever it is. And it's like a 1.5 mile loop and it's a nice, like up and down trail run. It's like, so it challenges you a little. And I'll be out there and there may be people around, there may not be. I kind of try to do it when there's no one around. And I'm like, it happened to me on a 7 mile run the other day. And I'm like 5 in and my legs are just getting jello-y. I'm tired. And I'm like, I'm literally out there. I'm like, come on, legs. Fuck you, legs. Let's
Yes.
go. You suck. Come on, Jeff. You going to quit? Who else is going to quit? Like, and I start like, I'm saying this out loud and there's not a lot of people around. I'm like, and I have to like yell at myself. And then I flip on my podcast, or not my podcast, but I'll have like, whatever. It could be like one of those motivational Kobe's, or I'll have people like, you're going to quit. Like, what are you going to, and I start trying to get in my head of like, don't stop, like yell at yourself, like whatever you got to do, like Spartan hoof, like, let's go.
You're a bodybuilder, so you know of Ronnie Coleman, right?
Dude, let's go. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Lightweight.
yeah,
Yep.
buddy, lightweight. Yeah, so like I remember
Yep.
seeing that in high school, and I was just like, I laughed at it. And like the gym I went to, there was this guy. He was huge. He was a bodybuilder. He was just screaming to himself in the corner. I was like, this is nuts. Dude, literally at the end of the workout, I was so motivated because I started doing it myself, and I didn't. The guy randomly just completely influenced me, and I just think of Ronnie Coleman at the time. And now every time I work out, when I start getting tired when I'm lifting, I'm just like, let's go. This is lightweight. You're not tired. And I completely just talk to myself. And I like this past like 2 years, like when I really started telling people, I was like, yeah, guys, I kind of do that. Like, I don't think it's that weird. But yeah, that just motivates me just to be like, yo, let's keep going. Let's go. And like a week and a half ago, I was practicing some drills that I was going to start employing with athletes.
By the way, you have quick ass feet.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to get them quicker. And I was doing a drill, and I had no shoes on. It was like 90 degrees outside. It was so hot, but I was so pissed off that I wasn't getting this drill quick enough and I wasn't turning out fast enough that I didn't even care about my feet. Like I just kept going back. Like there was no like, oh, my feet are hot. I just ignored that pain and I just kept going back and forth until a client came and they were ready to work. And I was like, oh, I should really put on some shoes now. I was like, I guess my feet are hard. But in that moment, I was just so pissed off I couldn't get a drill. So I did it like 20 times before they came just to master it. And I was just like, I posted on Instagram too. I was just like, mastering this drill over my feet hot. And I was just like, shit. I was just like, to me, it was just crazy because the turf gets hot.
Oh,
the
yeah.
turf gets so hot. And like, if I'm not in a workout mode, like, I'm like, oh shit, nah, I got to put my shoes on. But I was just so locked in, and it's just crazy how it happened. I was so locked in that I was like, yeah, nothing's stopping me right now. I'm going to get this drill.
Well, like, have you heard of Impact Theory podcast with Tom Bilyeu? He invented the Quest bar. He sold the company for like over $1 billion. He started a podcast. It's one of the top ones. He has a lot of top, amazing guests on. But so like, and another guy is Wim Hof. He's all about breathing techniques. He's like calling the Iceman. He's obsessed with cold. He's broke world records and like he's ran a half marathon barefoot in the Arctic. He's climbed Mount Everest with only shoes and shorts. He's submerged in ice water and his body temperature didn't change from 98.6 for like, I think it was like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that. he through breathing can regulate his autonomic nervous system so he can release endorphins. And he basically tapped into like deep breathing and how our bodies were meant to survive the cold, survive the heat through our regulating our own body temperature. So like if we're in the cold, you don't need clothes. Like you can regulate your body temperature, but we became so domesticated over the last hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years or whatever before now, because we're in AC, we're in climate things and our body's adapted to that. But he's an amazing guy. And he was on the podcast and he was talking about the science behind like getting angry even, right? So like, you know, he was saying like, say you're in a cold bath and you're freezing, like you can just by getting like mad and like breathing or being like, ooh, like making sounds and like finding a tempo of like, ooh, like getting hyped up, you can extend like 20 to 30% more time in the ice because you're of that like thing. To your point with training, it's like just getting that little exertion out or hype up or like getting your body to exert a little bit more, you can extend more weight, more endurance, like on a run or whatever. There's so much value in just like, if your people stop looking at it as like, he's the obnoxious guy, to like it can correlate to performance if you can do it. And the breathing side, I've been really getting interested in of like how much control you can have of your body through like breathing. It's pretty wild.
And that's breathing is something I stress with my clients and they hate it, especially the athlete I was talking about, because he's like, I don't get it. He's like, because I tell him breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And I was like,
running is so important.
Yeah, for running, it's so important. I was like, once you get that, nothing will be hard anymore. And I've trained him years ago when I was over at his school. And I was like, you mastered it then. And once you did, you realize nothing could stop you. I was like, now you have to get to that point again. But I was like, it's not just the breathing. It's just, you end up in your own zone. It's just like, you're completely just like, everything is just gone. All you can feel is just your body, your breathing, and just what you're doing. And it's just like, it's such a nuts feeling. I don't even know how to.
It's like meditative.
Yeah, it's like meditative. And I think that it's so crazy, but it's so amazing. But to bring it to a point where like you're in like 30 degree like water, I haven't done that. That's
well, I found, so you got to check them out. I'll have to send you something with Wim Hof, because like from vascular system to like your heart, like you have a vascular system. So like going into cold therapy, like cold showers, increasing from 30 seconds to a minute, to cold baths, to these things, like it's amazing. The response from immune system health to overall health to vascular system. Like people die of heart attacks or cardiovascular issues, and going in cold, it's like, it's a shock to the system at first, but it over time trains your vascular system to be a lot stronger. And it's an amazing health benefits all the way around. And again, if you like mental challenges, like I always challenge someone to like take a cold shower, like 30 seconds, like 1 minute, do it for a week. And like, it sucks, but you get this endorphin release. When you're done, you feel like you popped a pre and you're like, woof, like, cause you get an endorphin release, 30 seconds and like, you're awake. And, it's so uncomfortable that I feel like more people should do it out of that simple fact. And there are a ton of benefits behind it, but it's all about challenging yourself to be uncomfortable, man.
Exactly. And I tell people, like, if you don't challenge yourself to be uncomfortable, like, you're never going to grow. Like, you're always going to remain the same. So it's like, you have to put yourself in those positions to grow. And at the end of the day, like, I'm Black growing up in Boston. To run a business, a common theme I get, they're just like, so you just walk into these luxury apartments and just promote. Don't you feel uncomfortable? I'm like, well, yeah, but no matter where I go, I'll be uncomfortable. So, I mean, I might as well just do it and just get comfortable doing it. Like, and that's only going to help my business grow. And that's what I did when I was 22. And now I'm 25, where a lot of them just know me now and they come out to me, but that's because I had to put myself in that position to get to where I am.
How have you dealt with the rejection overall? Because obviously when you're trying to build a business, trying to coach, trying to do things in general, like, you know, there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of rejection, people doubting you. I mean, if you're not surrounding around the right people, even if sometimes if you are, it could be family, it could be friends that are like, man, what are you doing? Why are you posting so much? Why are you doing that? Like, have you dealt with that? And if so, like, how have you dealt with that?
I think I have this innate ability to just not care about what people think. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I don't really care about someone's opinion of me or anything unless I'm out here seeking your opinion. But if it's unsolicited, then like, I don't care. And realistically, I'm like, I don't care what you think, because in 2 years when I'm doing it, you're gonna be like, I believed in you. And I'm like,
Right.
no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because like those two friends that told me, they couldn't see me working with athletes. They reach out to me to this day. So I'm just like, I think you change the perception of like by what you do and how you lead by example. But also too, I just think that's people's own projection of they don't believe they can accomplish something, so they're trying to put it on you.
Sure.
And for me, it's just like I said, like my only role model was someone who was so far from me in Kobe, where what anybody else said to me, it didn't really matter, because I'm just like, you're not accomplishing what I want to accomplish and where I want to put myself. Like, I want to be here, and success is relative, so that could be okay with you, but for me, it's not okay. It's not okay with me. So like, I've never really cared about what others said, and when it came to like if like businesses said no or somebody said no, I always just said that's fine, because you hear I tell people like I learned through podcasts and what people are saying, because again, I didn't have anybody to teach me this growing up. So like it really did mean a lot to hear speakers. You hear people say, I've been rejected, I've been rejected, I've been rejected. You hear the Jeff Bezos say like people thought Amazon was dumb and it was never going to grow when it started off as like just a book service. Like we hear it all the time, but now look at them. It's just like we tend to just look at people for like what they are now, but I think it's important to really look at people's journey to see how they got to where they are. And for me, I think that's where I am. I'm at the journey. So like I'm trying to get to that result. And it's gonna take time. It's fine.
It's a 5 to 10 year thing, man. You know, people don't
it takes
realize it.
time. Like no one blows up overnight. Okay, yeah, we have those like
TikTok,
TikTokers
right?
and Instagrammers. So like the game is a little different now.
But how many of those are sustained, and how much are they actually giving value, right? Like how many is like,
exactly.
I'm famous because I do this, and then like at the end of the day, like, are you happy being that person? The money's cool and stuff like that, but at what point are you just like, I'm not really satisfied with my life?
Yeah. And like I had a client who was a social influencer, and what he used to always promote was just like parties and everything. And I remember, so like I had this idea of him when I first met him. I was like, oh, he's probably gonna be like this bro kind of guy. Just like your average like black hockey bro. I was just like, all right, he's gonna be like this, whatever. I have a lot of friends like that, cool. And then when I met him, I remember I told him by like maybe the second week, I was like, dude, I can tell you're so much more into like meditation and just like self-development and growing compared to the content that you're posting, especially like where you are in life. But I understand like your audience came for this, so you making that transition to like self-awareness and self-growth is kind of tough. And he was getting over that hump too. But now he has an app about whole self-development and everything.
That's great.
He loves it. He's enjoying himself. But I think even just to be able to, like you said, sustainability, just being able to sustain that. Like, can you sustain that? Like, a lot of people think they're going to be relevant forever, but like it's very hard to sustain success, especially that magnitude.
Right. And especially when it's off something so trendy, right?
Exactly. So it's like there's a lot of factors, and again, it's very superficial, and people fall into those superficiality, and they end up getting like really depressed, and they really are unhappy with it. So I think with me, it's like I'm doing something that I love that makes me really happy, and I'm not like trying to blow up off of what's cool. Like I don't got my angles. Like
right. It's like I'm here to give value. I'm here to help you. If you want to work with me, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I stand. And a lot of people that have reached out to me, they love that about my content, and they're like, I'm happy you're not like, like shirtless every 2 pictures. Like,
right. Dude,
like,
my content's changed so much. I can agree. It's like I went from all workout, all bodybuilding, all strength stuff to like, it's all like positivity. It's all like mindset stuff. It's all quotes. It's all like my mindset's changed because I just feel like, not to interrupt you, but it's one of those things where nutrition and working out as a concept is very simple. Like eat
Yeah.
whole foods, move, right?
Yeah.
But if your mindset isn't locked into that concept or certain program, like it means nothing. So you have to develop the
Exactly.
mind. So that's where I've really went deeper into is like I can give someone the best anything,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like I'm not going to try to sell someone anymore on, like you said, shirtless pictures, being shredded, because like there's no substance to me there. There's more to it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And you're completely right on that. It's just like, and for me, it's like, especially because I trained some clients online too. And like, I'm not the person that likes to give out a workout plan. I think it's very dumb. And just like, I mean, you could do that and make plenty of money. For me, it's like, I limit how many people I work with online, but I really want to still teach mindset and try to get as close as possible as if I was with you. So I try to check in. I'm not going to say I'm the best here at checking in, but I do try to check in and make sure we're on point and staying on track. But I want to see where you are mentally. It's just like, not just if you've done the program, it's just like, how has this changed you personally? Like, how has this changed your life routine? Like, and that's where I think it is where, and I tell people fitness is just, it's not just fitness nutrition. It's just, it's a, being healthy is a lifestyle. And that's what I want to build and help people understand. Doesn't mean like, oh yeah, I'm restricting my calories every week. No, that's just not what a healthy lifestyle is. It's balance. It's mindset. Where are you mentally? How did you feel this week? Like nutrition and fitness do play a factor, but it's like, did you get enough sleep this week? Like, did you relax? Like,
it's not
your
about
hobby.
being shredded. It's
Yeah,
not
it's not about being shredded.
like that's fun, but that's not the big point of the thing.
Exactly. So, and that's where I'm at. I'm at with the fitness, and that's what I want to promote to all my clients and just like anybody that follows me. It's like I want them to be able to understand that.
So I got one more question for you, man. And I've been asking this with the end of each podcast, and I don't know if you've seen it. I've been talking a lot about chase discomfort. So the question I have for you is, what does chase discomfort mean to you?
So chase discomfort. To me, it's like what I said earlier. It's just being able to place yourself in positions of being uncomfortable so you can grow. So like if I see some people doing a form of fitness that I've never done before, it's just like, instead of being like, oh, I can't do this, go put yourself in that position. You'll learn a thing or two, but also too, you'll get better from that. Like you'll end up more knowledgeable, but overall physically you'll be a better person. Like you become a better person, you become stronger. So for me, that's what chase discomfort means. It just means putting yourself in areas of discomfort and growing from that. And yeah, just growing from that.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. And if someone wants to reach you, we'll obviously post like, your links and everything in the podcast, but what's the best platform to reach you on?
I would say reaching me just through my Instagram. That's always the best way to reach out to me.
Cool,
Yeah,
man.
Instagram or email, but mostly Instagram because I'm on the app all the time.
Cool, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, talking with me, telling your story a bit, and
Of course, this is fun.
we'll definitely stay in touch, keep talking, man. But I appreciate you coming on.
All right, no problem. Anytime, man.
All right, man. Cool. So, guys, till next time, I'll see everybody soon. Chase discomfort. Be kind. See you guys later.
All right. Are we good? How long was
Yeah.
that?